my name is Nicole Kohr. I am a 29-year-old cystic fibrosis patient, a bilateral lung transplant recipient, and the creator, book, and lyrics of Fall Risk the Musical. And welcome to Theater 101. The first thing that I would like to do today is introduce you to the things you'll need in this class. The first thing you'll need, hydration. Preferably water, but if you would like to start off with some kind of caffeine beverage, I'm not here to judge. You should also bring your pet, because they're probably going to be on camera with you, right, Goose? She's sleeping. Let's see, what other things should we bring? Oh yeah, you. All right, so the first thing that you'd usually do in a Theater 101 class is introduce yourself. So let's take the time to pretend we are all standing in a big circle, making awkward eye contact. Let's introduce ourselves. I'll go first. Hey everyone, my name is Nicole Kohr, and I am 29 years old. I am here today because I'm in charge of this class, and I have to be. Okay, now it's your turn. Say your name, a fun fact about yourself, and why you're here today. That all sounds great to me. Next, let's talk about my favorite thing in the world, something that I created when I was very little, the 3 E's. The 3 E's represent the 3 things that you have to get rid of before you come into theater class. So the first one is embarrassment. Let it go. She has no place here. Embarrassment means you're going to limit yourself. And when you're in theater, you want to be as big and as bold as you can. The second E is expectations. There are no expectations when you're putting on a performance. You are the only one that can bring you to this role. The third E is ego. Now, you might be thinking there's a lot of ego in the theater. There is, but there's not supposed to be. Theater is supposed to be a creative outlet on which you can bring your emotions and your passion to a role that doesn't actually exist. And in order to do so, you have to be true to yourself. An audience is most likely to be responsive if you're bringing true, if you're bringing you. So let go of your ego. Today, I thought we could start with a really fun physical warm-up. I used to call it the 8 count. I think every theater is a little different, but it goes something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So in short, you're going to take your right wrist, your left wrist, your right ankle, your left ankle, and you're going to do an 8 count shaking each, then 7, then 6, all the way down to 1. Now that we're all warmed up, I would like to introduce you to some basic stage directions. Now imagine I'm standing on a stage right now, looking at you, the audience. If I were to walk toward you, I am walking down stage. In other words, closest to the audience is downstage. If I were to walk away from the audience, this is called upstage. Hi, Goose. If I were to return to where I was standing initially, this is called center stage. Now here's where it gets a little complicated. When you're an actor on stage looking at the audience, like I've been, my left is stage left. My right is stage right. However, even if you're in the audience turned around, that is still stage left, and that is still stage right. Following? Now let's flip it around. The house, which is another name for the audience, it's usually referred to as the house. The house is where the audience sitting looking out at the audience. So let's imagine right now I am sitting, I'll actually sit, method acting everybody. I'm sitting because I'm in the audience, which means if I turn to the left, that's house left. And if I turn to the right, that's house right. So if I'm an actor and I'm looking at the audience, that is still house left, and that is still house right. See how it can be a little confusing depending on whose perspective you're looking at it from? Now let's play a little game of chess, shall we? Let's say you're an actor on stage, and I tell you to move down stage left. Where should I go? Exactly. What if I'm an actor and I have to move up stage right? Where would I go? That's right. Hi, Goose. Speaking of stage directions, a director is usually the one who tells an actor where to go. It might be written in the script or something that they come up with on the spot. Or they're working with a choreographer, fight choreographer. It differs. In general, a director is in charge of taking all the different pieces and putting them together. Different pieces include the actors and the work you see on the stage, the design elements, meaning the lighting, the setting, the costumes. They have to make choices with producers regarding what they can afford. They have to make decisions with stage managers and prop managers about what's going on backstage, what works and what doesn't. I have had the pleasure of reading through many a theater textbook, many a theater class, and many a theater article. And here I have written some of the many life skills that you will attain by just taking Theater 101. The first is oral communication and public speaking. Theater is such an amazing rehearsal for any kind of speaking gig. Theater encourages you to enunciate, use dictation, and project. Remember, not every theater space will give you a microphone, meaning you have to make your words and your gestures reach the back row, which will give you the confidence and skills you need to be a public speaker. Flexibility, adaptability, improv, and problem solving. Theater is live, hence there are many circumstances where something will go wrong, go differently, or not go as planned. And in that moment, you have to find a reason in character to get either that fallen prop or that missed dialogue off the stage without the audience knowing that it was a mistake. And those things require quick thinking and improv, skills that you can bring to your everyday life. Time management. When you're in the theater, there are many responsibilities that will require a deadline. For example, eventually in a production, your director will ask you to be off book. Being off book means that you no longer hold a script in front of you when you're speaking. You have to have all of your choreography and your dialogue memorized. Group projects and respecting your colleagues. There is such thing as a one-man show, but there is no such thing as a one-man production. Everything that involves the theater is a collaborative effort. So that means you're going to have to learn to work with a group, with colleagues, with a partner, etc. This is often a fun thing because you get to learn how to share the stage with others. Working under pressure. I did mention that theater is live, right? One time I was cast as a swing in a production, which meant I had to learn many different roles and that I could be called on stage at any time. At one point, I was called on to play a role of an ensemble member, and I had to remember where that person went, sang, what they said, and I had to do it with less than 24 hours notice. Body awareness and positive self-image. In the theater, everyone is different. Like we say at the beginning of the class with our 3 E's, everyone is bringing something different to the table because you are the only one that can bring the true you, meaning everyone's body and the way that they play a role is different. And when you're in the theater, you have to learn to respect others as well as yourself. Do you know how many times I would be sitting backstage and the entire cast is in their underwear? This is as young as 6 years old. That means that everyone has to be confident in what they're bringing to the table. critique, feedback, and bounce back. When you're in the theater, one of the things that you will see a lot of is ego. While that's not something that I accept in this class, it is something you will find when it comes to producers, critics, even some of your colleagues. So you have to figure out a way to accept feedback, apply that feedback, but not let it affect your confidence or your self-image so that you can't play the role moving forward. Theater will teach you how to do this. Fun fact. Let's see if you can answer this question correctly. You know how at the end of a show, an actor always bows? Why is that? When I took acting classes with Broadway coach Diane Harden, she asked this question, and I believe my answer was, because I'm amazing and I deserve more applause. No. The true answer is you're thanking your audience for coming, which is all-inclusive with feedback. Everyone is going to have something to say about your performance, and you have to be ready and willing to listen. Friendship, of course. Theater is an excellent way to network with all kinds of people. Humor. Whether you're performing in a drama, a tragedy, a comedy, or a musical, you're bound to bring humor to this role. Leadership skills. Whenever a person brings theater arts to their resume, you're bound to walk into a room with confidence and a projected voice. This often leads to some kind of leadership role and leadership skills. Distraction and coping. The theater arts has always been my go-to coping mechanism, along with storytelling in general, which I define as the strongest version of patient advocacy. I have spent many days, weeks, years in an isolated hospital room, and telling a story through theater arts was the way that I coped and distracted from any kind of medical trauma. Last but not least, fun. The theater arts allows you to be who you truly are on steroids. You can be silly, you can be goofy, you can be emotional, you can be big and loud, and in theater, the bigger the better. Random acting tip number 1, never T-Rex. T-Rex means that you only use your arms like this. This is what waiters do. May I take your order, sir? May I take your order, sir? And this is what T-Rexes do because their arms can't go any farther. When you're on a stage and you have to present to someone who's way in that back row, you need to make your gestures big and bold, so you should never T-Rex. You should use your whole body with full extensions. Random actor tip number 2, always enunciate and project. Again, there are many theaters where audience members are sitting far away from you, and you may not always have a microphone. Remember to be loud and enunciate. All of your words and your gestures are crucial. Random acting tip number 3, the entire stage is yours, even if it's not. It doesn't matter if you're the leading lady or if you're tree number 3, a role I've played many times. You should always allow your stage presence to act as if you are the only person on stage and you have to take up the entire stage. Make use of it, it's there. Thank you so much for joining me for the first lesson of Theater 101 with yours truly and Fall Risk the Musical. We hope to see you again next time. And until then, remember to embrace the 3 E's. Happy Theater Day! Woo! Right? Yeah.